Should you ban certain alignments? In today's video, I'm going to go over the 3 alignments that I see banned at most people's table: lawful evil, neutral evil, and chaotic evil. Alignment is more of a baseline nowadays, and so whenever you pick your alignment, it's not like it's really affecting your class or what race you pick like it did in older editions. Even going back to 3rd edition, which is a semi-recent edition, there would be certain alignment restrictions towards classes. For example, you would need to be some form of chaotic to be a barbarian, and you would need to be lawful good to be a paladin. According to the player's handbook on page 122, lawful evil is described as creatures methodology takes what they want within the limits of a code, a tradition, loyalty, or others. Devils, blue dragons are typically lawful evil. When I was first getting started off in D&D, I asked one of my mentors at the time in a DM, what is lawful evil? Because at the time I thought that they were kind of an oxymoron. They contradicted each other. And he told me IRL lawyers and politicians are lawful evil. Even though I don't really think that definition stands anymore, because according to the people who run our country, our presidents no longer need to follow laws, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Neutral evil is once again described on page 122. Neutral evil, the alignment of those who do whatever they can get away with without compassion or qualms, and then it gives the monster example. I have a feeling this is what a lot of people think chaotic evil is. However, it isn't really. The neutral alignments are already kind of tricky to roleplay around, because if you're true neutral, you're going to see like a kitten get murdered and not really care, and then you're going to see an orphan get murdered and you don't really care. Basically, people who are neutral evil are neutral for the love of the game. These people are neutral in the sense that they don't really care about laws or being chaotic, but at the same time, they're going around and kind of committing crimes for their own gang. Think of neutral evil almost as a reverse Robin Hood. They're going to go up to that poor person and steal from them, and then they're going to go up to that rich person and steal from them even more. I have a feeling that most of the time, most D&D characters would actually fit into the description of neutral evil or true neutral. I just don't think that people really understand the neutral alignments enough to get that across. I feel like it's very easy to pick a neutral alignment when you're making your first D&D character because, I'm neutral on a lot of stuff. I haven't been an adventurer for that long. I feel like neutral evil would shine in a lot of political-based campaigns. I'm talking for example, the first Critical Role campaign, Legends of Vox Machina, that had political segments in it, and I feel like someone who would be against the party would be neutral evil. A great example of this would be Vex's and Vax's father. They kind of, while yes, they cared for their people, they would have been the first one to ride them into war. They would have been, that character didn't really care about all the destruction going on in the outside world. He was kind of heartless, but at the end of the day, he still could be redeemed. I think that's what the difference between a neutral evil character and a chaotic evil character is. Hey, y'all, remember to hydrate. Alright, the last one and the one I see played the least is chaotic evil. I think we all know what the chaotic evil archetype is without reading out of the book. You just go around murdering people, stealing, basically being really greedy. But once again, that more fits into neutral evil. You're doing evil stuff because it benefits you. According to the player's handbook, creatures who act Creatures who act with arbitrary violence, surrounded or Sorry, y'all can definitely tell that I'm dyslexic in this video. I have a very hard time reading. Alright, creatures who act with arbitrary violence, secured by greed, hate, hearted, or bloodlust, demons and red dragons are typically chaotic evil. Remember a few minutes ago how I said that neutral evil people were evil for the love of the game? Well, chaotic evil people are chaotic and evil because it's in their nature. Now, what I'm not saying is that lawful evil characters aren't calculated. A great example of a of a chaotic evil character would be someone like Light Yagami from Death Note. Well, yes, they work within the law, they are taking advantage of its oversights to basically commit crimes unannounced. So I guess the question is now, should you be banning these alignments? Honestly, I don't think so. Alignment in 5th edition is basically meaningless and only really a role point to roleplay off of. So I don't really see why you should be banning these alignments if they don't have any weight anymore. At least in older editions like 1st, 2nd edition, and even 3rd edition like I brought up earlier, alignments had weight. Now they don't. Yes, even though there technically is still an alignment section on the character sheets, at least in the 2014 character sheets, and while yes, it's still in the player's handbook, it's kind of structured as an optional rule. Yes, there are still some stereotypes connected to different classes, like paladins and clerics are going to be lawful good, or warlocks and barbarians might be chaotic evil. Yes, there are still the stereotypes, however, you can be a chaotic evil paladin, you can be a lawful good barbarian. However, I get why game masters are banning these alignments. Like I just said a second ago, these alignments are role-playing hooks. They tell you how to roleplay your character. So by putting on your one-pager, hey, we are banning alignment XYZ, lawful evil, neutral evil, and chaotic evil, it basically gives the players a roleplay like hook. While it isn't as common anymore, a lot of races within the old versions of the player's handbook used to have dedicated alignment. For example, orcs would more lean towards being evil and chaotic, when elves would more be lawful and good. Once again, these are more stereotypes though, as it seems to be within at least the 2014 player's handbook, and I'm assuming everything going on, alignment has been removed separate from player races. But I kind of get where players are coming from whenever they decide to play an orc and the only thing they've seen is Lord of the Rings or other fantasy shows or movies or read books where orcs are basically stand-in for cannon fodder and are basically just aggressive and war machines ready to go. There is a race from the older editions of D&D called the Kender, and basically there were like small little elves. I guess that's the best way to explain it. I've never really played with one or DM'd for one, but their entire gimmick is that they came from a society that did not believe in personal belongings. But basically, they would use that to justify them going around, and players would use that to justify them going around and stealing people's loot. Let's say your wizard just got a staff or a wand of magic missile, and then went to bed for the night, and then your Kender fighter, who's kind of on watch, goes and borrows that. That's theft. That would usually be a non-lawful alignment. But now, because these people come from a society that is known for borrowing stuff and stealing it from other people, that's, according to them, that's part of their law. So what alignment does that give them? I guess it's really up to the player, but, alignment, as far as we know, as far as it's gone back, at least racial alignment, is pretty subjective. Also, I've just noticed you've been able to see the sun come up in real time as you watch that video. That's pretty cool. So I guess to wrap up this video, personally, I don't ban alignments, I ban problematic players. The DM has the control. If a player is going around murdering people and using the justifications of that's what my character would do and that's what my alignment says I would do, then I could just, have like 60 guards come running after them if they're going out murdering people in the streets, cut them down with their hatchets and their halberds. So yeah, I'm probably going to put up a community post tab here soon, basically a poll on what you guys want me to do next. Leave a comment down below. If you really like this video, please subscribe. I make D&D content. Alright, bye.